Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk MMA, the show where we talk all about disc golf. If you guys play disc golf, it's actually really fun. I got into it this summer, but it's 2 degrees outside, so I can't play anymore. I tried making this podcast. I was like 10 minutes through, and I heard like banging and stomping and just madness going on upstairs. And my sister brought her dog over, and my sister has a golden retriever that's like 200 pounds. Okay, it's like 90 pounds, but way too big. Thunderous stomping from that dog made me quit the podcast, go up there and be like, what is going on? But they're gone now. We don't have to worry about them. We got some interesting topics to talk about, so let's get right into it with UFC 258. As the time of this being uploaded, it might have happened. I hope I get this out before that. It's 4:30 on the Saturday of this fight. I'm not going to go through the card. It's not a stacked card. One change to the card recently is Bobby Green was supposed to fight Brian Kelleher, and Bobby Green had to pull out. There was some kind of injury during the weigh-in. He might have passed out or something. But Ricky Simone, who recently called out Brian Kelleher, is going to fight Brian Kelleher. So I'm excited to see that fight. Excited to see Kelvin Gastelum back after taking 2 or 3 losses in a row. The Macy Barber, Alexa Grasso is a bit of a weak co-main, but I'm excited to see the fight nonetheless. And then finally we got Usman versus Burns. It's one of these cards where it's like you pay the $70 when you're like a fan, but you're like, you understand that it's one of the weaker cards of the year. Usman is just such a dominant champion, though. You just have to see how it plays out, especially against a guy like Gilbert Burns, who, has the ground game and the stand-up. And I really think we can get another interesting fight here like Usman had with Colby Covington. I think that Gilbert Burns brings a style where this can be a really, really fun fight, unlike the Jorge Masvidal fight. Who do I think will win? Probably Kamaru Usman. I don't see a lot of guys at 170 beating him. Colby Covington did a good job against him, but he knocked out Colby Covington, so there's that. Some people are going to argue with that. They're going to be like, what about the jaw? We got to stop doing that with fights, okay? I heard people saying it about Conor McGregor too. They're like, yeah, but if his leg wasn't hurt. His leg's hurt because he got hurt in the fight. It's a fight. That's what happened. Same thing with Covington's jaw. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Hopefully that ends up being good. Hopefully it's not a snooze fest. Moving on, we're going to talk about Bellator. We don't talk about Bellator a lot on this channel just because the UFC is what gets clicks, unfortunately for you Bellator fans. But, Scott Coker keeps saying the bantamweight division's the best in MMA. The light heavyweight division we have at Bellator is the best in MMA. No, you're wrong. But they're looking a lot better, especially with this new light heavyweight division tournament. April 9th, we have Ryan Bader versus Lyoto Machida. Then we have Corey Anderson versus, oh man, dude, this name. I'm going to do my best. Dovletzon Yagishermuradov. Butchered that name. It's a new guy to Bellator. This is going to be his first fight in the promotion, and they're putting him against Corey Anderson, which it's going to be Corey Anderson's first fight at Bellator as well. And then on the other side of the bracket, you got Vadim Nemkov, the champ, versus Phil Davis. And then, of course, you have Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Yoel Romero. That specific part of the tournament bracket I'm really looking forward to. Just Romero versus Johnson right off the bat. Johnson's coming back. Romero's out of the UFC, but he's fighting at light heavyweight. It'll be a good matchup. Who do you guys got for that? I really don't know. I don't know who I see winning this tournament. Probably not Lyoto. Probably not Bader. I think it's probably going to be a UFC guy or Nemkov, right? Vadim Nemkov looked really good in his last fight against Ryan Bader. And Bader's a good fighter too. So, he was the double champ there. So, I'm excited about that. Bellator is doing some exciting things, which they need to do. If Bellator wants to stay relevant, they have to put on Grand Prix like this. They have to do weird stuff that the UFC wouldn't do. And why not do tournaments in the UFC? I don't really understand that. I don't know why Dana's so firm on that. I'm not doing that because a lightweight tournament, like I guess we already kind of started doing a lightweight tournament, but it's unofficial. A lightweight tournament like a month ago could have been sick. You had all the names there. If you just set up a bracket, it could have been really cool. But I guess it's hard when you're dealing with stars like Conor McGregor and Khabib, who are kind of spotty about when they fight. Like Khabib says he's retired. Dana says he isn't. McGregor retires every 3 days. But yeah, that's what's going on at Bellator. Let's go back to UFC and talk about TJ Dillashaw, his return. And it looks like, according to Ariel Helwani, he might be fighting Uriah Faber, which I'm really excited about. I want to see this fight. And I know it sounds bad. And there's that whole argument about whether or not TJ Dillashaw deserves a title shot immediately when he comes back. But when you think about it, his last fight was a loss. I know he went down in weight and he fought Henry Cejudo, and there was some controversy with that stoppage. Some people had some issues with it. But Uriah Faber, there's the beef there, right? There's that team alpha male versus TJ Dillashaw beef. Dillashaw obviously got the best of Cody Garbrandt in their 2 fights. But it's just, reopening that beef. And it kind of puts all the pressure on TJ, though, because no one is expecting, I don't think, Uriah Faber to win that fight. But I think it's a good indicator about whether or not ring rust is real. Dominic Cruz is, the bantamweight who always says, oh, ring rust doesn't exist. We're going to see, because TJ Dillashaw hasn't fought in 2 years. If they make this fight, he's going to be fighting someone who's pretty seasoned. I mean, Uriah Faber's still a coach. He's still active in terms of training, I'm sure. Not that TJ isn't. But it'll be interesting. It's weird thinking that Uriah Faber fought more recently than TJ Dillashaw. But I'm excited for that fight. I think it could be really fun. I'm just wondering if beating Faber guarantees him a title shot, because Dana offered TJ a title shot apparently when they first found out that he was getting suspended. They said, you'll fight for the title right when you come back. He was kind of promised that, and it doesn't look like he's going to get it. You obviously have Corey Sandhagen still in that division. I think Sandhagen deserves the next title shot, but I would for selfish reasons, I want to see Corey Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw, because they also used to train together, and there could be some beef there. Good storyline, and Sandhagen's a freaking beast. You look at what he did to Marlon Moraes. You look at what he did to Frankie Edgar recently with that crazy 28-second first-round knockout with the knee. Just insane. I think a TJ versus Sandhagen fight could be one of the most beautiful striking matches we see in MMA. Moving on, we have subscriber questions. I asked you guys to ask me questions a while ago. I chose some of them that I like, and I'm going to answer them for you right now. So Jalen1480 asks, Francis Ngannou or Stipe Miocic? And let me burp and answer that. Okay. So, hot take time. Francis is going to smash Stipe. And that's coming from Stipe's dick rider. That was kind of an aggressive term. I love Stipe. Stipe's my guy. He's one of my favorite fighters. I think it's Francis's time to be a champion. He had 4 first-round finishes in his last 4 fights. All of them, or 3 of them, came before the first minute. 3 of them didn't last 1 minute in the octagon. And they were world-class dudes, too. It was guys like Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos, Jairzinho Rosenstrike, and who was the 4th one? Curtis Blades was in there as well. Only one of those guys lasted more than a minute. I forget which one. But just insanity. I think it's not a matter of Francis being better than Stipe. I think Stipe is the better, well-rounded fighter. But I think Francis just has cheat codes in his hands. He just has hands of freaking steel. And when he just grazes you, you go to sleep. It's not fair. I don't see it going like the first fight. I think it could be. I think Francis was really young then. He'd only been training in MMA for 3 years or something. But he's coming back, and he's a scary dude. So I think Stipe, if he can grind it out, get it to the ground, and avoid any big shots, he can win. But I just see Francis winning this. More Than a Casual asks, how old are you? 48. Next question. No, I am 21 years old. I'm a junior in college. Yeah. How old do you think I am? How old do I look? Do I look younger or older? Probably older if I were to guess. But yeah, I just turned 21. What a stupid time to turn 21 with COVID and, that global pandemic thing that's happening. It's kind of a stupid time to turn 21. I didn't get to like get lit with a bunch of people and have a party because, stuff happening in the world. Just Chryso or just Chriso? I don't know how to pronounce that. Chriso? Probably just Chriso, right? But you'd think there'd be two S's. I don't know. He asks, it's a double question, but first, what do you think of Sean O'Malley? And second, what do you think of Europeans watching UFC in the middle of the night? So I'm going to answer the second one first. Any like European UFC fan are just like crazy because where I am, like the fight tonight is at like 10 p.m. That's when the main card starts. If you're a European watcher, you're like 5 to 6 hours ahead. So you're like watching the fight at like 3 or 4 a.m. I think that was math. Is that math? I think that's math. I think we're good. Yeah, you're watching that fight at like 3 or 4 a.m. Insanity. How are you doing that? How are you staying awake? Do you like go to bed early the night before, or do you just like screw sleep? I don't know. It's just insane to me. I think if I was European, I wouldn't be a UFC fan. I don't think I'd be able to watch them. I don't think I could get into it that early. I don't want to see people beating each other up when I'm eating my breakfast. That's insane to me. And I'm a late owl. I'm a night owl, but like I don't wake up until like 9 or 10 if I don't have to. So there's that. Yeah, okay, and the Sean O'Malley question. Sean O'Malley, what do I think of him? I like Sean O'Malley. I think he says a lot of stupid things on his podcast, but he's a young kid with a camera and a microphone like me, and I say a lot of dumb shit too. So I can't really, pick on him for that. But I don't know. I don't like when people believe in their hype too much too quickly. I think he did that. And then when he lost to Marlon Vera, he just kind of didn't accept his loss in a way that I would have liked. I like people who, it's okay if you talk shit. Like, that's cool. But when you lose or even when you win, be a good competitor. I like good competitors, good sportsmanship. But yeah, Joe Rogan. I know a lot of you guys like Joe Rogan who watch my stuff. There's like some overlap with MMA and Joe Rogan. A lot of people don't, but a lot of people do. So I figured I'd bring him up because he's had some really, really good guests lately. Obviously, Elon Musk recently, he returned to the pod, and a guy like Mark Normand, which if you guys don't know Mark Normand, stand-up comedian, he's on Joe Rogan quite frequently. He is so goddamn funny. Like seriously, he has a hour special on YouTube. Just look up Mark Normand comedy special. It's hilarious. It's offensive too, so if you get triggered easily, I would not recommend watching it, but it's really, really funny. But he's had some MMA guys, and that's why I'm bringing this topic up on the show. He had Mark Smith, who's a referee that's like one of the lesser known referees. And I didn't know much about Mark Smith. I mean, you hear about Big John McCarthy, you hear about Herb Dean and guys like that. But Mark Smith, dude, he was part of the Thunderbirds. He was in Air Force pilot. He's done some really, really interesting stuff. He did something with NASA too. It was really interesting hearing, his life story and everything he's done and how hard he's had to work to get where he is and achieve all these awesome things. So I really, really enjoyed that listen. Also, Cody Garbrandt was on the podcast recently. I didn't get to listen to that, but he's been on before, and it's interesting, I guess, to hear about how he's doing and what he's thinking just with his current, situation. I don't think they've talked really since he's accumulated a couple of losses. Maybe I'm incorrect about that. But really the interesting one, and they went off for 3 hours. Francis Ngannou, I know we just talked about him, but Francis Ngannou's story from being a guy from the Cameroon to going to the UFC is just insane. And if you guys want to learn more about it, definitely check out the Joe Rogan and Francis Ngannou podcast that they did together because, geez, it was really, really interesting, and I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that's the show. It's kind of short just because I wanted to get something out there today. I actually did a video on, it's like less than a minute, but it's a Joe Rogan video, and it's like me talking to Joe Rogan as if like he was interviewing me. I green screened it, did some photoshopping to get like the original guest out of there and put me in there. It took a lot of editing. It was a lot of fun though, and you guys seem to enjoy it. You seem to think it's funny. But yeah, so check that out if you have any time. Enjoy the fights tonight. And I'm wondering, I'm ready for all those comments of like, oh my God, you got the prediction wrong for UFC 258. Kamaru Usman lost. Oh my God. Waiting for those. It's hard making predictions on YouTube or even something like TikTok or Instagram because people will just come, like they'll save it and they'll come after you afterwards and like, you were wrong in your face. It's just weird because it's like a 50-50 shot every time. So you're wrong 50% of the time. So 50% of the time you say anything, people will come after you and attack you. But that's okay because I really don't care about what people say on the internet sometimes. What am I talking about? Peace.